Are you having trouble deciding your franchise team for Madden 26? Well, I'm here to help. Today, I'm going to go over 5 teams that you should consider, along with some honorable mentions for franchise mode inside of this year's game. Today, I'm going to specifically focus on the AFC, and then tomorrow I'm going to have a separate video going over 5 more teams for the NFC that you should consider. I've got a lot of exciting stuff planned inside of Madden 26 this year. I hope you guys are ready and excited. Make sure to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more Madden 26 franchise content. I feel like this year in particular, there were a lot of really good teams, and I had a really hard time narrowing down the team I wanted for my series. But let's go over the 5 AFC teams I think you should consider, and we'll start with the Cleveland Browns. And it's only fitting because for those of you who watched my team reveal yesterday, I am picking the Browns for this year's series. The Cleveland Browns are really bad. They are a 78 overall, tied for the lowest rated team in the entire game. It's no secret this team's a mess. They're one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and obviously they've got a massive dilemma at quarterback. A 5-way battle with Joe Flacco, not you, Shedeur Sanders, Kenny Pickett, Tyler Huntley, and Dillon Gabriel. Obviously the 2 most intriguing names here would be the 2 rookies. Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel are both rated pretty low, however. Sanders is only a 67. He does not have a hidden development trait. And then Dillon Gabriel is only a 66, and he also only has normal. Both of these guys are on the older side for rookies as well. Shedeur is 23, Gabriel is 24, which is going to make it a little bit harder to develop them, especially compared to many of the younger guys at the position who are 21, 22 years old. As we look at the rest of the roster, especially on offense, it's rough. Whoever ends up being your starting quarterback is going to have a tough time getting things going. Jerome Ford obviously headlines the backfield. The 2 exciting names here are the rookies, Quinshon Judkins and 20-year-old Dylan Sampson, the youngest player in the entire game, both of whom have hidden dev. The receiving core is rough. Jerry Jeudy's cool. David Njoku's good, and I'm very excited about Harold Fannin Jr., but otherwise it is not pretty. The offensive line is good, but they are also a ticking time bomb filled with older players and very injury-prone starters. The defense is a little better, not that we've really put the bar too high. Myles Garrett leads the way. He's a 99 overall superstar X-Factor. He is nearing 30 years old, though, but I think given how good he is, he's probably not going to regress that poorly. Garrett, of course, requested a trade in the offseason, but the Browns ended up having none of that, agreeing to a long-term extension with him. He'll be under contract through 2030 until he's 35 years old. So you get to be stuck with Myles Garrett for the long haul. There are some intriguing young pieces on this defense, including the first-round draft pick Mason Graham, who's going to be a big-time building block. Denzel Ward is good, but he's older, 28 now, with injury concerns. Greg Newsom's on an expiring contract. Martin Emerson is expiring and out for the year with injury. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is also out for the year. So you're certainly going to rely on a lot of these young guys like Carson Schlesinger to really develop. The Browns kind of take the mold of a traditional rebuild, being one of the worst teams in the league, but they have so many intriguing storylines. Obviously, the quarterback battle at the top of that list, but many other ones as well, which is ultimately the reason why I ended up picking them for the series on the channel this year. Another big perk is they have 2 first-round picks, thanks to the Travis Hunter trade-up with the Jaguars in last year's draft. So you're going to have 2 first-round picks to add to this young group, which is certainly helpful given that there are not many players on this roster worth a first-round investment. In terms of the contracts, obviously Myles Garrett's deal is going to be on the books for a while. He's making a lot of money. You're going to have to deal with the Deshaun Watson contract, unfortunately, as well. Although the good news is he's only under contract for 2 more years, thank goodness, and then he is off the books. Finally. But Myles Garrett has 6 years. Denzel Ward has 3. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of big deals on this team because they've been handcuffed by Deshaun Watson. The second team on the list is the Indianapolis Colts. Certainly nowhere near as bad as the Browns. They're an 81 overall, and they won 8 games last year. But they are also not in a great spot. They don't have a lot of high-end talent, and much of their roster core is on the older side. They certainly are stuck in the middle and need to pick a direction. Like Cleveland, they've got a quarterback battle ensuing as well between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Obviously, the hope is that Anthony Richardson is able to turn into something. He's only 23, which is the same age as Shedeur Sanders, and he's younger than Dillon Gabriel. Obviously, in terms of Madden, he's going to be a fun player to use because he's got a rocket of an arm and is super fast with 91 speed, but the rest of his ratings are not great, and he only has normal development. As we look at the rest of the offense, Jonathan Taylor, of course, is a good piece, one of the best and, at this point, most underrated players in the NFL, but he's entering year 6, which is the older side at running back. They've got a good group at receiver: Pittman, Pierce, Downs, and Adonai Mitchell, Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end. They don't really have any alphas, though, at wide receiver. The offensive tackle duo is good, and obviously you've got Quentin Nelson there in the middle. Defensively, they're not too bad, but they're on the older side. DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Kenny Moore, Charvarius Ward, all very good, but they're all on the older side. Other than Laiatu Latu and JT Tuimoloau, there really are not many intriguing young pieces defensively. So this team's got to get younger. They've got to add more high-end talent. Unless Anthony Richardson ends up having a big season, this team is going to be stuck in mediocrity for quite a while. One of the good things about the Colts, though, is you will have a good amount of financial flexibility since there's not that many elite players on this roster, so there aren't many super back-breaking contracts. The Miami Dolphins are third on our list. The Dolphins also won 8 games like the Colts. They're also an 81 overall, but as I look at their roster, they might have a little bit more high-end talent than Indianapolis, but I would argue that their team is in a worse position than the Colts. In terms of Madden, though, obviously it's going to be fun using all these speedsters. 98 for Tyreek Hill, 97 for Jalen Waddle, 96 for Devon Achane. Tyreek Hill's 31, though. And with my XP and regression sliders, he's going to go down quickly. Even though there's not a quarterback battle for the first season, there is an interesting dilemma with Tua Tagovailoa. Some people seem to really overrate him. I think others really underrate him. EA probably overrates him. There's no way he should have superstar development, despite the fact that he has had some good seasons. He obviously has the injury concerns, probably a bigger deal in real life than Madden. I'm surprised it's an 83. That also feels really generous. And the big challenge with Tua is this contract. He's on a massive deal for the next 4 years. So whether you like him or not, you're kind of stuck with him. Of course, he's got a fun group of skill position players with Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle. They got Darren Waller at tight end. Why is he an 82? He was out of the league a month ago, and his rating is higher than that of like CJ Stroud's. That's nasty. Outside of the skill positions, though, the rest of this team really is not good. The offensive line is rough. Got a couple of youngsters with Patrick Paul and Jonas Savai-Inaya. I'm surprised Savai-Inaya did not get a hidden development trait. And then defensively, it is ugly. Kenneth Grant, the first-round rookie, that's a big addition to this group. They traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Steelers. But otherwise, this defense is going to be rough. Other than Minkah, they only have one player on this side of the ball higher than an 82 overall. Although a guy like Chop Robinson, though, I think him and Kenneth Grant, they could be a fun tandem going forward. But otherwise, there's just really not a lot to get excited about on this side of the ball. So the Dolphins give you an interesting blend of having fun players to use early on, like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Devon Achane. But they're also in a rough spot. They are probably worse on paper, I would say, overall than the Indianapolis Colts. And in terms of the contracts, they're in a much worse spot than the Colts because they're paying Tua so much money. That's not to mention all the other big contracts they've handed out in recent memory. Tyreek Hill's making a lot. Minkah you got for 2 more years. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Waddle, those guys are making an absurd amount of money, so they're going to be a massive challenge for you. The New York Jets are going to be next on the list. They're a team I've had on my radar, very high on my list for a few years in a row, but ultimately they did not end up being my picks. Although I do think they are a great choice for franchise this year. An 81 overall, not really that bad. They're the same rating as the Dolphins and the Colts, and I think their team actually has a lot of things to be excited about. You've got a few big-time pieces at the top of this roster with Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, and Garrett Wilson. All 3 of these guys are under contract for the long haul. These guys are big-time pieces for this team, all playing very important positions. So these are guys who you can really set the foundation of this team with. The rest of the roster, though, is ugly. And I don't know if there's a more obvious QB-needy team other than Season 1, with the exception of maybe the Steelers. You're going to hope to revive the career of Justin Fields. Maybe he can be Aaron Glenn's version of Jared Goff, in a sense. But 74 overall, 26 years old. The chances are not that high. The skill position group, other than Garrett Wilson, is also rough. Breece Hall's good, but he's on the last year of his deal. Mason Taylor is intriguing. Only his normal dev, though. I think outside of the quarterback and the skill position room, though, the team really is not that bad. The offensive line looks really solid with Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu, their two most recent first-round picks. Elijah Vera-Tucker, Joe Tippmann, very solid as well. And then defensively, along with Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, there are some good pieces here. Brandon Stevens, size, speed, very intriguing combo. Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Azareé Thomas with hidden development, Quincy Williams, Andre Sisco, who they signed from Jacksonville. All really, really solid pieces. I do want to point out, they were not lying about the snow in this year's game. This was no joke. You can barely see 15 yards down the field. But back to the Jets. I think they give you an intriguing combination of a team who's expected to be bad this year, who's been bad for forever. They've got some fun young players to build around like Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, but the roster overall is lacking in substance, and quarterback is likely a position that you're going to have to fix. They don't have that many big deals on the books other than their three superstars. Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, you've got 6 more years of them, 3 more for Quinnen Williams, but you're going to have to make some decisions on other guys. Jermaine Johnson has 2 years left, Will McDonald has 2, plus the 5th-year option, and Breece Hall only has 1. Let's go through some honorable mentions before we pick our final team. We'll start with the Las Vegas Raiders. 79 overall, only won 4 games last year, but I think they're going to be a lot better than that. Geno Smith is a good quarterback in the short term, but you're going to have to find a long-term replacement. Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers, though, on the same offense, that's going to be really exciting. And you've got some other good players here, like Jacoby Myers and Jack Besh, and a pretty solid offensive line. The defense, though, is where it gets rough. Max Crosby's awesome. He's one of the best players in the league. And then the rest of this defense is a damn disgrace. I will say, though, the rookie from Iowa State, Darian Porter at corner, very intriguing. He's super tall. He's super fast. Already 24 years old, though, so it's going to be a little bit harder to develop him given his age. The Pittsburgh Steelers are next up, a playoff team from last year, but their roster has changed a lot. You'll have Aaron Rodgers for year 1, and then that's probably it. You're going to have to find a new quarterback after that. Maybe that could be Will Howard. There are some intriguing pieces on the offense. Caleb Johnson, the rookie from Iowa, DK Metcalf, and Pat Freiermuth catching the ball. Overall, though, the offense is not great on paper. The offensive line has some good pieces. Zach Frazier looks like a big hit in the second round last year. Troy Fautanu now healthy. But obviously the strength of the team is on defense with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith going off the edge. Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Darius Slay in the secondary. Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward, and the rookie, Derek Harmon, inside. Really, really good group there on defense. You have an intriguing mix of younger players to build around, but also older guys who could be phasing out. The last honorable mention is the Tennessee Titans, who finished with the worst record in the NFL last year, got the number 1 pick, and obviously that's the big storyline going into your franchise, is that you get to play with Cam Ward. How is he only a 72 overall? That is nasty. The skill position room is not bad, but it's uninspiring. Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, and Chigo Okonkwo, not the best group. You do have some hidden dev guys with Gunnar Helm and Chimere Dike. The offensive line has some good pieces. Peter Skoronski, J.C. Latham, and they gave Dan Moore a lot of money. The defense I don't think is as exciting. Other than Jeffrey Simmons, who's a beast, and L'Jarius Sneed, who's still a superstar development, there's not a lot to look at here, although rookies Ola Oladejo and Kevin Winston Jr. I think are going to be pretty solid. Tavondre Sweat as well, second-year nose tackle from Texas. He's going to be quite good as well. The last team on the list, though, is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there is one specific reason why I think the Jaguars are a great choice, and I don't really think there needs to be much explanation behind it. It's that you get to play with Travis Hunter, who is going to be probably the most exciting player in the game this year. One of the most exciting rookies I can think of in Madden memory. He is an 84 overall at corner with superstar development, great coverage ratings, great catching ratings. I imagine his abilities are going to be filthy. And then he is an 82 overall at wide receiver, which is practically a wide receiver 1. So he is going to be a monster for you on both sides of the football and will certainly be a really, really fun player to have. Outside of Travis Hunter, though, the rest of the team has some intrigue. Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, he's obviously got to take a leap now in year number 5. A lot of people think that Trevor Lawrence has more pressure than any quarterback in the NFL this year, and I would disagree with that completely. He may need to perform for you, but the Jaguars can be patient with him because he's under contract for the next 6 years. So even if he's bad this year, he's not going anywhere. I hope you like Trevor Lawrence because you're probably going to have to stick with him at 25 years old with start development. There is certainly room for him to get better. 92 throw power, 88 speed. I'm surprised his speed is that high. The rest of the offense has some good players. Position battle at running back with Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and the rookie Bashul Tutin. With his speed, he's going to be really fun to use in Madden this year. At wide receiver, it's not just Travis Hunter. Brian Thomas Jr., the second-year standout from LSU, had a great rookie season. The 28th wide receiver in the league. That's disgusting. He was easily a top 10 wideout a season ago. An 84 overall for him is nasty. Where is Travis Hunter, though? Why is he not showing up in the depth chart? I don't think Madden has fully figured out how to utilize Travis Hunter being a two-way player. There is a workaround for this, however. So if you go into the regular depth chart screen and you move over to wide receiver, you'll see Travis Hunter on the list. I'm not sure if they keep track of his receiving stats, though, which is really lame. Madden should have prepared for this. Travis Hunter has been a well-known player since he was a high school senior. That was 4 years ago. What are we doing, EA? The offensive line looks pretty bleak, although Wyatt Milam does have hidden development. Defensively, there are a lot of good pieces. Hey, there's Travis Hunter again. Outside of Hunter, Josh Hines-Allen's a stud. Trayvon Walker, former #1 pick. Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, and a couple hidden dev guys with Jack Kaiser, Caleb Ransaw, and I can't forget about Tyson Campbell as well, who they gave a somewhat big extension to last year. So the Jaguars are going to be one of the most fun teams in the game, default, with having Travis Hunter. But outside of him, this is still a really intriguing choice of Brian Thomas Jr., the development of Trevor Lawrence, Bashul Tutin at running back. I think he's a guy who people are going to have a lot of fun playing with. I'm pretty sure he's only 21 years old, so he's got a really good combination of speed, size, and youth. The Jaguars do not have their first-round pick, though. Remember, they traded it away to get Travis Hunter, but they have all of their other picks after that for the most part, so none of your major future assets are gone other than the 2026 first-rounder. In terms of their contracts, you're going to have to navigate through the Trevor Lawrence deal. He's, of course, making a lot of money. Josh Hines-Allen is going to be making a lot. Otherwise, though, there are not that many bad contracts here with Jacksonville. So that's going to wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget, tomorrow will be the NFC version of this video. Again, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Madden 26 content. Peace out.